Hello, today we're going to be doing an error analysis problem, and we're going to look at what are the errors in this form of working out, and we're going to be able to solve these errors. We're going to be able to find the right answer, and we're going to see what's been done wrong and what we can do right. Okay, so if you want to pause the video here for a few minutes and try work out the errors, you can right now. Okay, so firstly, we're gonna look through and we're gonna see if you got some of the errors. So here, first off, there was an error when this number in bracket was distributed. So, and there was also the same error here. We have an order of operations error here. We have two of them. And we also have an error here when simplifying this equation. Lastly, we have another error simplifying this equation, and we have another error finding the term x. You can pause the video to find the errors again. Okay, so here the first error was that this isn't the only number here. It's not just a 2. It is a -2. So we have to keep that in mind. So when we are multiplying -2 by a +2, we get -4. But when we multiply it by -x here, we get a +2x. Same thing on this side. 3x is correct, but we just forgot to multiply the 3 by the 2. We have to make sure to distribute the number to both. The next error here is combining like terms. So as you can see, we have 3x and 2x on one side. Now, we can either take these away and combine them using two methods. We either add or subtract. But because these are both positive, we're going to subtract. And when you take -2x from both sides, you will result on 0. You'll have a result with 0x on this side, which is correct. But you should have only x here because 3 minus 2 is 1. Here, the mistake is that 2x has been added to both sides to try to take it away. Really, this 2x has been added to this side, but that's a mistake as it should be subtracted. The next mistake is a similar mistake. To subtract the 2 from this side, you must subtract 2 from -16. But when this happens, it must become -18. Now, I know this is difficult because the number is going upwards. But if you look at a number line, if you have a -16 here, when you subtract 2, it should be going away from 0. And here is -18. -14 is here because it's just adding 2. This is the minus direction. You must be taking away. Same as if you have a +2 here, it is going in the same direction. Here's a very simple mistake. I just want to. Here's a very simple mistake. Just when you're dividing to find the x term, you're allowed to swap the sides to make it like this. 5x equals -14. And to find x, you just have to make it a regular x. So you have to find a way to get rid of this 5. And the best way to do that is to divide both sides by 5. The best way to find the answer for this equation is just to simply divide both sides by 5. So here, 5 by 5 cancels out, you just have x. And here, you have 5, but you can't really cancel it out with 14. This is not divisible. But remember, this minus sign is still here, so the answer is -14. Okay, so now we will be going through the intended solution. So we will be taking all this away and redoing the working out by ourselves. If you want to pause the video now and work for 2 minutes, try find the answer by yourself. Now that you know all the errors, go ahead and do that. Okay, so we will be starting off with this. Last time it had no errors, but we're still gonna go over and we're still gonna explain why this is come out as this. So the 4 term is positive, multiply it by the x, which is also positive. So you get 4x. And when you have a -5 multiplied by a +4, you get -20. Okay, first one done. Now, -2 multiplied by a +2 is equal to -4. And a -x by a -2, these are both negative, makes a positive, which should be a +2x. Now, on the other side of the equation, you just need to distribute 3 to the x and 3 to the 2. So multiply 3 by 2. And they're all positives, so you don't have to worry about negatives. So equals 3x plus 2 by 3 is 6. Now just go over your solution and see if you've gotten to this step here. Now that you've corrected your mistakes and you're working out, we're ready to go on to the next step. So now we're going to be combining like terms on either side of the equal sign. So the first term we have is the x's. So for the x's, we're going to see that one is positive and one is positive. So we're just adding. And 4x plus 2x must equal 6x. Now for the integers, which are just regular numbers, no fractions, we're just going to try add them together. As you can see, we have 20 here, but it is negative. And that is also getting subtracted by -4. These are both negative, and they're negative parts of the equation. But when we are subtracting, we're going to keep them negative. And we're just going to make that negative 24. This side of the equation doesn't need to be changed at all because we've already combined the terms on this right side of the equation. So we can just rewrite it exactly the same and we'll have no issues. Okay, once you have this and you have solved your mistakes, you should be ready for the next step. Okay, now we're going to be combining like terms across the equal sign. So we will be swapping numbers across. Now, let's start with the x's. We both have positive x on both sides. And so to make one of these x's equal to 0, we're going to be subtracting. Now, this one is the smaller x, so we're going to subtract 3x from each side. Okay, now that we've put in to subtract 3x, we will be subtracting 3x. So 6x minus 3x is equal to 3x minus 24 equals 3x minus 3x, 0 plus 6, and 0 plus 6. We can just write 6. Okay, so once you have this equation, we are near the final steps and we need to still combine some like terms. So now we have all the x's on one side of the equation, but we still have these numbers on different sides of the equations. We have these x's on one side of the equation. We still have numbers on two different sides of the equation. So we want the numbers and the x's on different sides just to find the x. So we're going to move the numbers to the right. To move the numbers to the right, we're going to try and get rid of this. And to make this 0, we're going to add 24 to both sides. So 3x and then this should equal 0. And this side should equal 30. Now, once you've done this working out, you should arrive at this equation. We had 3x plus 0, but we can just take away the 0 and we're left with 3x and 30. We've separated the numbers and the x's and we've combined the like terms. And now we are ready to divide this 3x to find x. Now, I suggest trying to do this by yourself to see whether you get the right answer. Now you will be dividing by 3 on this side and dividing by 3 on this side. 30 divided by 3 is 10. Now, if you came to this step, you should get x equals 10. And as you can see, here is the working out that I did earlier. If you want to look over the whole problem. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope this helps you with your maths.